Recognize the gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Rouzer, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as I was sitting here listening to the testimony and some of the questions from my colleagues, it occurred to me when I was looking for a job, soon to be out of school at NC State University. I was a chemistry, ag business management, and economics, ag econ major. That was a different stage in my life when I was far more intelligent than I am now. And I had a lot of different job offers from ag chemical companies. I say a lot, certainly, as it relates to the number that are in business now. What happened there? Why was there so much, and I think this would just be good for the record, why has there been so much consolidation? Is it the regulatory environment? Has all this been for the betterment of American agriculture, to its detriment, or a mixed bag? I just throw that out for anybody who might want to answer or take a stab at it.
I wish I had an answer, because when I started, there was 13 multinationals, and we're down to 4, roughly, and one of which I used to work for, and now is Corteva. I used to work when it was DuPont Crop Protection. So, and why the consolidation? I don't have a good answer. I'm sure it's somewhere around the regulatory. I'm sure it's around their boards looking at financials and making hard decisions on whether or not to continue. So I know that doesn't answer your question, but.
Anybody else have a thought?
Yeah, I would tie it to what I had said before. In order for these companies and even for smaller ones to come up with a new active ingredient outside of what we know now, you know, it's 12 years of development and regulatory approvals going through that process. So 12 years is a long time, and it's about $300 million. That's a lot of money to cover in terms of you know, what you'd have to sell in revenue. It's just not worth it for a lot of them, and so a lot of them consolidate because you know, there's a need to do that for their investors, for the people that have put money into the company. I think beyond that, looking at then some of the smaller companies like us that have new technologies and other things going through, same kind of thing. It's a tough process to get through the regulatory process. They wait for those to happen and then may work to purchase those at some point, but it has to be proven at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Witherby, while we're on you, can you speak to the links a company like yours goes through to demonstrate environmental safety?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're held to the same standard everybody else is, and you know, for part of that is that there's a series of testing. The rules are what the rules are in terms of chemicals, so we have to prove out that they're not a skin irritant, that they're not going to harm both the environment or human health. You go through series of tests. The problem is that you can put the data together and provide that in a package, but it's still going to take you 15 to 19 months for the EPA to then look through that, or the USDA, or both in our case. If that happens, then 19 months, 2 years is a lifetime. It's a lot of money for us to be able to keep up and going while we're waiting for those regulatory approvals. So that process of kind of aligning the folks there, then having kind of a quicker path to say, yes, it is, you know, you've met the standard of it is healthy to humans, it's not going to harm humans, it's safe for the environment, and then allow the testing at the institutions to, you know, to go on. That's the tough part. That waiting period is 3 to 4 years at times. That's just a killer for a company that is living off of small dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. So just for the record, I've introduced the Reducing Regulatory Burdens Act the last 2 Congresses to end EPA or states from requiring permits under the NIPDES program for discharges of registered pesticides if they are used for their intended purposes and in compliance with their pesticide label requirements. And you think that's a good bill or not a good bill?
It's a good bill if we can define what a pesticide is. And so right now that pesticide is being defined as a chemical. A lot of the folks here are dealing with things that are not just chemicals. You know, we're dealing with whether it's bacteria or insects or other soil treatments, et cetera. So if it's not a chemical, then that applies across the board, and that's what we're kind of looking for help with.
Yeah. Well, I've only got 13 seconds left, so I will yield my time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.